whispering shadows. It was a dark and stormy night as I settled into my night shift at the old, creaky hospital. The rain tapped against the windows like skeletal fingers, and the fluorescent lights flickered sporadically. As I made my rounds, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Each step I took down the dimly lit hallway echoed like a heartbeat in my ears. The air seemed thick with an unexplainable tension, as if the building itself held its breath, waiting for something sinister to unfold. My flashlight cast shaky beams of light that danced across the peeling wallpaper and the faded pictures of smiling patients from years gone by. As I approached the nurse's station, the feeling of being watched intensified. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to catch a glimpse of someone or something lurking in the shadows. But the hallway was empty, and only the distant echo of rain and the occasional creak of the floorboards broke the silence. Then, a sound cut through the darkness, a faint whisper, so soft that it could have been the wind playing tricks on my ears. I strained to listen, trying to make out the words, but they remained elusive, like ghostly secrets carried on the breeze. My heart pounded in my chest, and a shiver raced down my spine. I forced myself to continue my rounds, attempting to shake off the eerie sensation that clung to me like a second skin. But the whispers persisted, growing louder and more urgent. It was as if the very walls held memories that longed to be heard, stories of lives that had once inhabited these halls. As I reached the end of the hallway, I hesitated before the heavy door leading to the basement. It was a place I had always avoided during my shifts, a place rumored to hold even darker secrets. But tonight, curiosity got the better of me. I took a deep breath and descended the creaking stairs, the feeble beam of my flashlight cutting through the pitch black darkness. The basement was a labyrinth of forgotten supplies, dusty shelves, and a cold, damp atmosphere that sent a chill through my bones. And then, amidst the faint hum of the ventilation system, the whispers grew louder, echoing off the walls. I spun around, my flashlight beam darting wildly, as if seeking out the source of the haunting voices. A figure, vague and ethereal, seemed to materialize from the darkness. My heart raced as I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. The figure's features were indistinct, a mere silhouette adorned with the haunting echoes of long, lost memories. It reached out, fingers like tendrils of mist, and the whispers coalesced into words that resonated within me like a mournful lament. Fear clawed at me as I turned and fled the basement, taking the steps two at a time, my pulse pounding in my ears. The whispers pursued me, their echoes lingering in the air as if they were etched into the very walls. The hospital, once a place of healing, had become a realm of unsettling mysteries, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows held secrets that were better left undisturbed. The haunting call. As I settled into my night shift at the old remote radio station, the isolation weighed heavily on me. The silence of the night was broken only by the distant howling wind. I had heard rumors of strange occurrences here, but I dismissed them as mere stories. The air inside the station was heavy, charged with an electricity that seemed to hum through the equipment. I fiddled with the knobs and switches, trying to distract myself from the sense of unease that clung to me like a second skin. Despite my efforts, the stories I'd heard replayed in my mind. Stories of unexplained broadcasts, of voices that shouldn't exist. I began my routine broadcast, my voice trembling slightly as I attempted to maintain a facade of normalcy. But then, amidst the crackling static, I heard a faint voice. It was like a whisper carried on the wind, an echo from the past. My heart skipped a beat, as I leaned closer to the microphone, straining to hear more. The voice grew clearer, revealing a chilling tale of a lost soul trapped between worlds. It spoke of darkness and regret, of a life cut short and a longing for release. Goosebumps prickled on my skin as I realized I was conversing with something beyond the living. A voice from the beyond, seeking solace through the airwaves. As I responded, a sense of connection formed between us, a bridge between the realms of the living and the dead. The voice shared its pain, its fear, and its longing for closure. It was as if the radio waves had become a conduit for the ethereal, a channel for the voice to finally tell its story. With each passing moment, the room seemed to grow colder and the walls appeared to close in around me. The air crackled with energy and the hair on my arms stood on end. I could feel a presence in the room, an unseen entity drawn by the conversation unfolding through the radio waves. And then, as if the barriers between our worlds had weakened, a shadowy figure materialized before me. Its form was indistinct, shifting like smoke in the wind. The voice seemed to emanate from it, carrying with it an overwhelming sadness and a palpable sense of loss. My breath caught in my throat as I stared at the figure, unable to tear my eyes away. It reached out, its fingers brushing against the edge of the microphone. The room seemed to pulse with energy, and the temperature dropped to an icy chill. I could almost feel its presence enveloping me, a cold embrace from beyond. As the conversation drew to a close, the figure began to fade, its form dissolving like mist. The room returned to its normal state, the crackling static subsiding. I was left alone, the weight of the encounter settling heavily on my shoulders. The radio station had become a conduit for the supernatural, a portal through which the stories of the departed could be heard, if only for a fleeting moment in time. The abandoned factory. The night shift at the old factory was always eerie, but tonight was different. The machine stood silent and rusted, casting strange shadows on the walls. As I patrolled the empty halls, a distant clanging sound echoed through the building, sending shivers down my spine. I followed the sound, my footsteps echoing in the empty space. The factory seemed frozen in time, a relic of a bygone era. My flashlight cast eerie beams of light that illuminated long-forgotten workstations and abandoned tools, each one a testament to the lives that had once thrived within these walls. The clanging grew louder and more persistent as I ventured deeper into the heart of the factory. It was a rhythmic sound, like the beating of a ghostly drum, filling the air with an unsettling energy. The cold draft carried the echoes of long-forgotten voices, the laughter and camaraderie of workers who had once toiled here. I reached the center of the factory, where a massive ancient machine stood. Its gears groaned and chains rattled, the source of the eerie clanging. It was as if the machine had been awakened from its slumber by some unseen force, a force that defied explanation. My heart raced as I watched, a sense of dread settling over me like a heavy fog. And then, amidst the clamor of machinery, a gust of cold wind swept through the room, carrying with it a chilling whisper. It spoke of a tragic accident that had occurred in the factory years ago, a catastrophic event that had claimed the lives of countless workers. The voice was laden with sorrow and regret, and it seemed to linger in the air like a haunting melody. As the words of the whispers seeped into my consciousness, the factory seemed to come alive with the echoes of the past. Shadows danced along the walls, taking on the forms of workers, their figures hunched over the machines, their hands moving in a synchronized dance. Their faces bore expressions of anguish, frozen in time as a constant reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat as I realized I was no longer alone. The figures were all around me, their spectral forms moving in unison, trapped in an eternal cycle of labor and pain. Their eyes met mine, filled with an unspoken plea for salvation, for release from the tormented existence that had become their afterlife. The factory's walls seemed to close in, the machinery groaning and clanging in a cacophony of torment. The air was thick with the weight of their presence, their collective sorrow pressing down on me like an invisible force. With every step I took, their anguished cries followed, a chorus of voices that haunted my every movement. I fled the factory, the sound of clanging and whispers fading behind me as I emerged into the open air. The night had transformed the abandoned factory into a place of chilling memories, a realm where the past and present collide in a symphony of sorrow and despair. And as I left the factory grounds, I couldn't shake the feeling that the echoes of that haunting night would forever linger in the empty halls.